You know, one thing that's never happened, nobody's ever told you specifically what we have to do to get to net zero by 2050. And when I tell people on here that we're not going to make it, I get a lot of pushback and people say, yes, we are. So let's look at the net zero 2050 roadmap. This is specifically what we are going to have to do over the next 26 years to get to net zero. So here we are right off the bat, 2021. No new coal plants approved for development. We've already failed on that. China's building coal plants like crazy. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if you can see this down below. No new oil and gas fields. That's as of 2021. It's 2024. Also, no new sales of fossil fuel boilers. I don't know where we're at on that. I haven't looked. I don't think it's that important, to be honest with you. By 2030, universal energy access. We currently have 1 billion people on the planet that don't have access to electricity. That's not changing by 2030. By 2030, all new buildings zero carbon ready. By 2030, 60% of global car sales are electric. Most new clean technologies in the heavy industry demonstrated at scale. 1,020 gigawatts annual solar and wind addition. Phase out all coal in advanced economies. If China's building coal plants today, they're not going to be phasing them out in 5 or 6 years. How do we get to the 1,020 gigawatts annual solar and wind? We have to increase the amount of wind and solar we are currently building on the planet on an annual basis right now. We have to increase that sevenfold. 700%. And then once we do that, we have to maintain that rate of production for 20 consecutive years. 60% of global car sales electric. Let's move on. By 2035, 50% of all heavy truck sales must be electric. No new internal combustion engine car sales. All industrial electric motor sales are best in class. Overall, net zero emissions from electricity in advanced economies. And by the way, down here right below me, you see 4 gigatons of CO2 captured. That means by the year 2035, carbon capture has to grow by 2,000%. 2,000%. 2040, 50% of all existing buildings retrofitted to zero carbon ready levels. 50% of fuels and aviations are low emission. 90% of existing capacity in heavy industry reaches the end of its investment cycle. Wow. Net zero emissions electricity globally. Phase out of all coal and oil power plants globally by 2040. By 2050, 85% of all buildings zero carbon, 90% of heavy industrial production low emission, 70% of global electricity from wind and solar. 2045, 50% of heating demand met by heat pumps. And I believe it's 7.6 gigatons of carbon captured by 2050. Which is nearly a 4,000% increase on what we're doing now. So, what do you think? Do you still think we're going to get there? Or do you think I'm onto something? Let me know. Thanks.